Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Dun dun dun. Hopefully, hopefully this is all going correct. I'm getting a lot of lag as I'm listening, and it keeps giving me this warning, and I don't know what it is. It's saying it's not connected. Well, it shows that I'm broadcasting, so I have no idea what the problem is, what's connecting, what's not connecting. Sorry, I'm just realizing I'm gonna play with the cough drops in my pocket if I don't get them out. So get those out. There's where the other ones are. Sorry, I'm thinking of my jump drives. My wife needs one. I need to go through all of these, so I'm going to put them all in one place where I'll see them and remember them. So, welcome in. Hope you're having a great day. Looking and going, yeah, that light right there, giving a little bit of glare. I got to figure out the new setup for lighting. I haven't played with the lighting yet, but I'm digging it. Got all my water bottles up over here and a pitcher that is from Hungary, handmade water pitcher that I brought. Got my bike arrow, got my target, got some comic books up here, got the monkey, and you can see the other fish tank over here that's not been in the stream room before. So, and getting close to letting a few of those monsters out of the tank and into the other. But let me show you up close on the monster. I mean the toy. They're not really monsters. So here's the new angles for the cams. I'm digging it. I hope that's coming across good. Let's just do one at a time here. We can get real up and close. Come on, load. There we go. Look at this beautiful guppies. I mean, that has got to be the best shot of the guppies that I've had. I think it might be even ready to. You could watch that live and just leave it on. Ooh, look at the snail crawling right there. You can see this snail. And the snails are not doing their job of getting SpongeBob's house clean. They are failing. And why was his fin right there up in the cam? Why was his fin right up in the cam? And look at the koi right up close. We're looking down the long way of the camera there, and you can see the light on the cam is reflecting off of the glass there. I need to figure out turning that off. There's probably a setting I got to figure out. Oh, it's rainy up there too. Ooh, look at the waves. Yesterday was calm as could be, and today, well, there's not going to be any sun, so I'm just going to pan this out at the lake so you can see the, well, that's not going to work either, because now there's more rain on it. So let me pan it away, so maybe the wind will blow the, it'll blow that moisture off the cam. Oh, and I still need to set this one up. Okay. That one needs to get set up at the pond. The pond is up and running. Got that up and running this week, but it's been raining, so I haven't got the cam moved. So there we go. Just a peek around some new stuff. Oh, and by the way, new adjusted setting for this section here. Hey, Schizo, good morning, friend. I'm just trying to check and see is everything showing up in the chat box, because I've got stuff newly aligned here. Let me move that over. There we go. That looks a little better. So, Schizo, welcome in. Good morning. Hope you're doing well. Let's see, can I make this larger? Well, it's always hard to find, like here on the dark screen, it is difficult to find all the settings. They don't all show up for some reason. Where's the font size? Oh well, I think it's okay. I gotta look up and figure out what we need to read today, so I can take these off. So let me get those off. Come on. Stop it. We need to get the Bible app up and see what we have. So I got to get this filled in. So just give me a second. Hallucinations have been horrible for a while, and sounds like VA is done. Just stuck, I guess. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that. And I do not have an expertise in that, but regardless of what it is with medical stuff, you need to be an advocate for yourself and continue to pursue stuff until you get treatment. I just know too many things and have heard too many cases where a doctor or a entity, the healthcare entity, just doesn't have the capacity to track it down, figure it out, do all of that. I don't know where the best mental health facility is in the U.S., but I do know if you had, different other physical things going on, like Mayo Clinic would certainly be a place I would recommend. If you have heart, I'd go to the Cleveland Clinic. If you got cancer, there's places to go. So I don't know with a suggestion, but I can be in prayer for you. I'll be in prayer for you. You've done that for over a decade. I quit. Well, yeah, I understand that. My wife took at least half a decade of tracking and figuring things out, and I've known other people who've had ongoing, taking forever to get stuff taken care of. So, I'm just gonna pray for things to change and for some new opportunity to get adjustment treatment. Okay, there we go. So for tomorrow's reading, Psalm 45, 1 through 9, which we're not reading the Psalms and Proverbs on stream. Luke 15 is tomorrow's reading. Deuteronomy 19 and Deuteronomy 20. And then let's check what Sunday's readings will be so I can get those. Proverbs 9, 13 to 18. Luke 16, 1 through 18. And Deuteronomy 21 and Deuteronomy 22. Okay. Hey, Sunshine Hannah. Hanny. Welcome in. Welcome in. And Lucis, good to see you. Nice sunshine there. Nice sunshine. Love that. That's awesome. So, all right. So good to have all of you in here this morning, smoking losing time and having closed eyes hallucination. Oh my goodness, not sleeping is destroying. Well, yeah, lack of sleep will it'll wreck anybody's life. I close my eyes for a second, start doing things around the house, and open eyes, and still in the chair. Woo. That I don't. Yeah, I don't have any anything that I can do but pray with you, man. That is all. Come on, I'm trying to click this because I don't like the way it's set up. Where is it at? All right, there we go. Just adjusting these because I've got a new setup. So I don't know, how do you like the new setup with the me below and the scripture above? I'm hoping that then when I go to make VODs, it'll make cutting those easier. I know you can't just bother me. Oh, and I appreciate you sharing. And I don't want to come across like I don't want you to share. I absolutely love that you are sharing. I just wish there was something I could do because it just sounds horrible. That sounds horrible. And like I said, I've got friends and family who have struggled with mental health and physical health, and the healthcare system not getting them everything that they need. So That's really what I'm talking about. So, Smoking, you're welcome to hang out here. Uh, I'll be praying for you. If you want me to pray for you on stream, I can do that too. Just lift you up and ask that you get some relief from all the hallucinations, and that God just provides a way for you to get the help you need and the healing that you need. So, all right. So looking here, I think let's stay in Deuteronomy today. Let's stay in Deuteronomy because we could easily, this is Saturday and Sunday's readings here, we could easily get Saturday, Sunday in Luke and then continue Luke on Monday. So I'm thinking let's stay in Deuteronomy. So we got 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. We could probably do 5 chapters of Deuteronomy today. Probably do 5 chapters. Sorry, Smoking. I'm still just trying to think if there's something I could do. I wish I could think of something that was helpful or beneficial, but I don't know. All right, so Deuteronomy 18. I guess one of the only, and you've probably done this, one of the only things I know of, for instance, I was just telling a friend about this who has digestive things and some other stuff going on, is tracking when episodes happen, and so that you can see patterns of those. But if it's happening all the time, that's it seems hardly worth tracking all those things. So, for instance, he's having issues with nausea, and this is, it's like track how often they happen. So one, you can see if the medications you're on lead to progress, or if something triggers it, if you can figure that out, or if there's a pattern of it. But I'm guessing you might have done some of those kinds of things. You're just trying to not shut down right now. Well, I can bring you, at least I hope I can bring you encouragement and welcome. And the community does that too. We'll welcome you here and make you feel like it's a place you belong, and we're here to care and love you. So that I can do from far away. That I can do from far away. So, and if there's something, the other topic you want to talk about that's helpful, just let me know. We do rabbit trails here. We can go off on a side topic for a while. Pop Taterhead. Good morning, Flat Cap and chat. May everyone have a blessed day. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, my friend. And a tip of the cap. Tip of the cap to you. All right. Back into Deuteronomy. So we've been going through, and if you don't remember the setting of Deuteronomy, Deuteronomy is set up that Moses is on the mountain. He is at the end of his life, and he is saying his farewell. This is Moses' farewell speech, and it's recounting everything that they have gone through from the time they left Egypt up till now. And interwoven in between are all the things that people are supposed to be doing. Here's how we live in this new way. Here's how we go forward in all the things that we're doing. So, I'm just noticing my chair here is blocking. There we go. I'll move it over here out of the way. The chair was blocking the art that's down here. You probably can't see real well, but it's there. It's there. Okay. The Levitical priest, indeed the whole tribe of Levi, are to have no allotment or inheritance with Israel. They shall live on the food offerings presented to the Lord, for that is their inheritance. They shall have no inheritance among their fellow Israelites. The Lord is their inheritance, as he promised them. So that's just a fascinating thing. Like, okay, so I live off of the offerings of others. Got that. That makes sense. But the Lord is my inheritance. That's kind of interesting, because the Levites are given over to the Lord because 1/10 you give the oldest, you give the first child, that kind of a thing. And the Levites are the tribe that ended up being that, even though they're not the oldest chronologically of birth order, but they are the ones that represent the giving to God for the work of God, for the service of God. And here, the Lord is their inheritance. That's just a interesting thing. I don't know. This is the share due the priest from the people who sacrifice a bull or a sheep, the shoulder, the internal organs, and the meat from the head. Okay, so every time an animal is given, there is a shoulder, the internal organs, and the meat from the head. So they get the liver, they get the heart, they get all of those parts that people will eat inside of an animal that are edible. They get the meat from the head. I don't do a whole lot with the head, but you know, okay, so you get all the meat from the head. And there's also, so then there is a portion, the thigh, I want to say it's the right thigh. The right thigh is the wave offering, and that's part of the burnt offering. So, and then there's the portion we were reading yesterday about you eat this in the presence of God when you offer a sacrifice. There is the meal that is given and eaten together. Here's the part that the priests get, or sorry, the Levites get. The Levites get. Oh no, sorry, I was wrong. The Levites up above get the tithe. Here, the priests get part of the offering. So the tithes that come in are going to the Levites. The priests are getting the sacrifices. You are to give them the first fruits of your grain, new wine, olive oil, the first wool from the shearing of your sheep. For the Lord your God has chosen them and their descendants out of all the tribes to stand and minister in the Lord's name. So, your first fruits of the wine, the olive oil, and the first shearing of the sheep. I have not sheared sheep. I'm guessing the first shear of the sheep is not really the best wool, but if you think about it, they are not raising the sheep. They're not having to care for the sheep. They just are getting the first portion that comes about. Let's see. Unorthodox has followed. Hey, thanks for the follow. Thanks for the follow. Oh, sorry. That is my alerts are weird. All right. So RCN, hey, thanks. Redeemed a spot of tea and a tip of the cap. Tip of the cap to you, sir. Tip of the cap to you, RCN. Welcome. Good to have you here. And English breakfast today. Let me do this. English breakfast today. I'll give you a full-on tip of the cap. Tip of the cap. Now you can maybe see what's going on there. Oh, okay. Well, I'll stand over here while I tell you about my tea, and you can look at the shelves and pick which one. So I am drinking English breakfast today. English breakfast. Let me know which hat you would like. Let me know which hat you'd like. And RCN, I don't know if I've ever asked gender, guy, gal. I just called you sir, and I'm going, I assumed you were a sir. Maybe I'm wrong. Do you have a favorite hat? Shelf, color, location, right, left, middle, whatever can help me figure that out. Okay, so back to shearing the sheeps, getting the first of the grain. So when you're getting the first fruits, it's just a little bit that gets put out there, not the whole amount. Like it's just, but like for instance, right now, if I were to get first fruits of my flowers, one location in my yard, the daffodils have bloomed and they're out, but the other locations are not. So if I was to get first fruits, I would go clip those daffodil and give those. Now, flowers don't always produce more if they're from a bulb, so that wouldn't produce more, so that wouldn't quite work. But anyway, any thoughts there, RCN, on the hat choice, or I will just pick one? And I'll pick one, and if you tell me, I can switch. So I'm just gonna pick one. Let's see. I got blue and bluish. It's almost purplish bluish. Let's go with white. we go. That's a nice contrast. There's a nice contrast. So, if you had another choice, had another thought, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to pick with the white today. Thank you for the redeems, my friend. Thank you for the redeems. You've been here long enough to be able to cash in some redeems. Huh. Did not carry over the chat. That's interesting. Did I not have it on here? Oh, I don't have it on this. That's why. That's why. Okay. I forget sometimes. Okay, so we got all the offerings given, why they're given. Okay. If if a Levite moves from one of your towns anywhere in Israel where he is living and comes in all earnestness to the place the Lord will choose, he may minister in the name of the Lord his God like all his fellow Levites who serve there in the presence of the Lord. He is to share equally in their benefits, even though he has received money from the sale of family possessions. So the Levites have access to move from town to town to town and live there anywhere. And he still gets a portion, even if he gets rid of stuff. When you enter the land, so notice what we're getting. We're getting some rules about how to live, and we're getting some cautions of things to avoid. We're getting rules how to live and cautions of things to avoid. When you enter the land the Lord your God is giving you, do not learn to imitate the detestable ways of the nations there. Okay, and we looked up we looked up abominable, not detestable. I guess it's probably going to be a synonym. Ways of the nations there. Let no one be found among you who sacrifices their son or daughter in the fire, who practices divination or sorcery, interprets omens, engages in witchcraft, or casts spells, or whom is a medium or a spiritist, or who consults the dead. Okay, so we had the cutting your body for the dead. Oh, yeah, you can see that. Now we have this whole list. Okay, so let me just see what's on the list. So, sacrifice a son or daughter to fire, practices divination or sorcery, interprets omens, engages in witchcraft, casts spells, or who is a medium or spiritist. So it depends on where you put the ors in there. Counting, is divination or sorcery 1, or is divination sorcery 2? So we got sacrifices, sons and daughter, divination, sorcery, omens, witchcraft, casting spells, is a medium, and consults with the dead. Oh wait, a spiritist too. So we got, I don't know how we count those. Sometimes when you get the ors, it's hard to figure out is the divination and sorcery one thing or two things. Okay, so I'm not sure what to do with the numbers there, but look at the long list. And we already had Balaam, who did divination. So they are being told what Balaam did, they should not do. Anyone who does these things is detestable to the Lord. Because of these same detestable practices, the Lord your God will drive out those nations before you. You must be blameless before the Lord your God. Okay, so this is why these people are being driven out of the land, because of the things they're practicing. So when you go in and you take over, don't do the same things they're doing, because that will be cause for you to be cast out of the land. Okay, just noticing some things that need slightly changed. There we go. Okay. Because I can see a gap between my cam and the frame there on the top. Let's see if I can drag that, and there we go. Nope, it's still there. It doesn't look like it's there until there. Now we're good. Sorry, that was bugging me. I could see the words behind in that little gap there. Maybe it didn't bother anyone else. Okay. The nation you will dispossess, listen to these who practice sorcery and divination. wait a minute. The nation you will dispossess. Listen to those who practice sorcery and divination. Oh, that's what they do. So they do that. But as for you, the Lord your God will not permit you to do so. The Lord your God will raise you up a prophet like me from among you, from your fellow Israelites. You must listen to him. For this is what you asked of the Lord at Horeb on the day of the assembly, when you said, let us not hear the voice of the Lord our God, nor see the great fire anymore, or we will die. So you people asked for prophets. You asked for people to go between you and God. So that's what God is going to give you. Another one is going to come and replace me. The Lord said to me, what they said is good. I will raise up for them a prophet like you from among your fellow Israelites, and I will put my words in his mouth. He will tell them everything I command him. I myself will call to account anyone who does not listen to my words, that the prophet speaks in my name. But a prophet who presumes to speak in my name anything I have not commanded, or a prophet who speaks in the name of other gods, is to be put to death. Okay, so you get two places put to death. You're a prophet of another god, put him to death. They're trying to get you to go and sway you to listen and serve other gods. Or you're not saying what God told you to say. You're saying what people want to hear, and we'll see that happens as we go along. So hope everyone's tracking with that. Makes sense? Makes sense? You must say to yourselves, how can we know when a message has not been spoken by the Lord? If what the prophet proclaims in the name of the Lord does not take place or come true, that is a message the Lord has not spoken. That prophet has spoken presumptuously, so do not be alarmed. Okay, this is one of the reasons why people think that prophets just are about prophecy. It's only about declaring the future, because it says, how do I know that this person is an actual prophet? Well, whatever they say, does it come true or not? If it doesn't come true, they're not a prophet. Well, what if the prophet comes and says, in 100 years, God is going to do this? How could you then attest to something if it's 100 years in the future without waiting 100 years? And so if the prophet, let's just pick on Noah for a minute. If the prophet says, hey, there's going to be a flood, and God said we need to build an ark, and would you like to help me? The only proof that he's a prophet will come 100 years down the road. That makes it kind of difficult to actually prove if they're a prophet or not. The other thing is prophesying, speaking what God said, isn't always about things that are going to happen. It's not always about things that are going to happen. So declaring who God is and what he does at times is part of that. And sometimes the prophesying is in singing. So, all right. When the Lord your God has destroyed the nations whose land he is giving you, and when you have driven them out and settled in their towns and houses, then set aside for yourself 3 cities in the land the Lord your God is giving you to possess. Determine the distance involved and divide it into 3 parts of the land the Lord your God is giving you as an inheritance, so that a person who kills someone may flee for refuge to one of these cities. So if you missed that, we were talking about before, on the east side of the Jordan, on the land they took there, 3 cities. When they're going to go into Canaan from north to south, there'll be 3 cities, and you want equal distance apart, so that at most, whatever it is 100 miles away. I don't know what the full distance from north to south is in Israel, but from top to bottom, you want people to be able to get there and actually be able to utilize these cities. What's interesting to me is why the east side got 3 cities and the west is getting 3. There are 2.5 tribes on the east side. So that leaves, 9.5? Yeah, 9.5 on the west side. So 9.5 tribes get 3 cities, and 2.5 get 3 cities. So that just seems a little bit out of proportion. but maybe it has to do with terrain and travel. I don't know the land well enough to know that. Okay. This is the rule concerning anyone who kills a person and flees there for safety. Anyone who kills a neighbor unintentionally, without malice aforethought. For instance, a man may go into the forest with his neighbor and cut wood, and as he swings the axe to fell a tree, the head may fly off and hit his neighbor and kill him. So that would be negligence or an accident, depending on if he did something wrong with his axe and didn't have it properly attached. That would be negligence. If it's an accident, if it just broke and he was unaware of any issues with it, that man may flee to one of the cities and save his life. Otherwise, the avenger of blood might pursue him in a rage, overtake him, if the distance is too great, and kill him, even though he is not deserving of death, since he did it to his neighbor without malice aforethought. This is why I command you to set aside for yourself 3 cities. So, the idea of city of refuge is for people who have done, and I think at this point we've only had murder mentioned. You've done something unintentionally, and as a result of what you did, someone's life was taken. Someone's life was taken. So, that is super weird. Why do I not have access to my own emotes? That's weird. It doesn't even let me log in. Wow, I can't use my own emotes. There's something weird going on. And now I'm stuck over here. All right. That's just weird. There we go. Couldn't get off of that for a second. All right. If the Lord your God enlarges your territory as he has promised on oath to your ancestors and gives you the whole land he promised, because you carefully follow all the laws I command you today, to love the Lord your God and to walk always in obedience to him. So your walk is your way of life, your path, your journey, all of those synonyms for all of those synonyms. Sorry, Lucis, I can't see the emotes. That's weird. That is weird. The emotes are not showing up there. Let me just check my... Check what it looks like on my Twitch. Yeah, I see them in the chat below, but they're not showing up there. Wow, that is super weird. That is super weird. Yeah. How about up here in the box on chat, like all those emotes? Can you see them over there in the box? They're not showing up for me. I can see that like in the chat on the side. Something's going up with the you know what it might be. Let me check this a minute. Let me check this. Let's see with Pastor G. Hey, bro. Drop it in. From work to lurk a little. Hey, good to see you, friend. Good to see you. I'm just looking at my chat and seeing that no emotes are showing up in the chat on screen. So I'm going to switch this and see if that changes that. Good to see you, friend. Hope you're doing well. We haven't had a chance to chat lately. I haven't been able to check out your services when those are going on, but I hope all is well. And I saw you jumped over in the Discord on TCD, so glad to have you over there. Okay. Anyway, yeah, just busy. Oh, I know. You get busy in ministry and don't have a chance to always hang out with friends. But it's all good. I love seeing what you're doing, friend. So, because you carefully follow all the laws I command you today, to love the Lord your God, to walk in his ways in obedience to him. So that is the commands. That's the essence of the commands, to love God and walk in obedience to him. Then you are to set aside three more cities. Do this so innocent blood will not be shed in your land, which the Lord your God is giving you as your inheritance, and so that you will not be guilty of bloodshed. Okay, I'm not sure if it's these 3 cities you need to set up, or if there's 3 more, if it's saying 3 more in addition to the 3 on the east side, or it just said set up 3, and if you get if you get expanded territory, set up more, but you do it in sets of 3. That, I'm not sure which way it's going. I'd lean toward that second thought there, but we'll see. Yeah, the emotes are not showing up here. That is just weird. I don't know why that is. Try. Well, I can't look at all the settings in the dark mode. It doesn't let me see everything, so sorry about that. I'm trying to get them up here. That's weird. I adjusted things and now it's not showing. Okay, but if if out of hate someone lies in wait, assaults and kills a neighbor, and then flees to one of these cities, the killer shall be sent for by the town elders and be brought back from the city and be handed over to the avenger of blood to die. Show no pity. You must purge from Israel the guilt of shedding innocent blood, so that it may go well with you. So, I hide in wait. I intend to kill someone. I have a plan to kill someone, and I flee to the city. I don't get refuge. I do not get refuge because I intentionally went and killed someone. It's only for accidentally killing someone. Manslaughter would be what we would call it. So, manslaughter, I can flee. And if you remember, I don't know if it's going to tell us this. If you remember, you have to live in that city until the current high priest dies. So it's like a life sentence, but it's not your life sentence. It's the life of the priest that you stay in the city. When that high priest passes away, then you get to go back home. Do not move your neighbor's boundary stones set up by your predecessors in the inheritance you receive in the land the Lord your God is giving you to possess. So, is this just giving, like, sometimes it feels like this seems random and out of place, and what is it connected to? But maybe this is saying, you know how to prevent your neighbor from wanting to kill you? Don't steal his land. You don't want to get killed by your neighbor. Don't steal his land by moving the boundary stones. I don't have boundary stones, but I do have little stakes in the ground, surveying stakes that are put in the ground, and they are there to mark off the plat of where my land is. And yes, it's plat. You get platted, not plotted. It's called a plat, which is the whole government layout of where all of the property boundaries and stuff are. So, sometimes they're in the right place, sometimes they're not. And sometimes what someone might do is move the, what looks like the boundaries on the top. So, if you use land for a certain set of time and nobody objects to it, you can claim right to it. I don't know if you know that. So, for instance, I give my neighbor permission over here to use and drive on my property, so because there's a creek that blocks him from getting to half of his property. So he can come around, use that, and go through. If there wasn't a boundary marker sitting there, and we hadn't had an agreement, we didn't do all that, and he just started using that, and I sold my house, and the next person came, he could suddenly claim, no, that's always been my property. That's always been my property, and that little stake hidden in the ground would be the proof that says no, it's not. So, but if he started using it and I didn't notice it, and then suddenly he's claiming it, that's kind of what I think is happening here. It's that gradual encroachment on your neighbors of taking things, but you're doing it with intent to steal their land and to gain more for yourself. Hey, King Yenzala. King Yenzala. Hope I got that right. A lot of this feels so basic and like, yeah, of course you shouldn't do that, but I think that's a good showing of just how broken people or God's people had gotten and to the degree he needed to go in detail in order to bring them back. Good morning also. Yes, good morning. Yeah, but this is also, this is a recap of all the people before they go into the land. It's a recap for all the people. We're going into the land. We're going to do these things. So, yeah, it is basic. It is basic, but they had rules in Egypt to follow. There are rules in Canaan that you could follow, and God is establishing the rules for his people. So, yeah, they seem really basic on some of these, but how easy would it be to move a boundary stone? Like, I just kick it every time I go by, and over the years I suddenly, have more land. Now, boundary stones are going to be big. You probably can't just kick them. You got to spend effort doing that. So, anyway, let's see. What were you playing? Playing art. Awesome, friend. What medium? What medium? Digital, paints, ink. What medium are you most often doing art in? By the way, I have some art right there. You can see it. Well, you might not be able to see it well, but yeah, yes. There's a bunch of covering off all the loopholes. Oh, you're a digital artist. Cool, cool. That back there. You know what? Actually, let me just show you. So that is the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. My best friend from college got commissioned to do it for someone as a tattoo for their back. And when he showed it to him, the guy said, "Nah, I'm not getting that. That is going to be too much pain." So, yeah, that's why that would have been the full life size across the back. So he gave me a print of it, and it's this way. I got to get used to the new setup. So I did hang up art down there because otherwise it's just black. So I thought that pop down there gave a little intrigue. Yeah, it is really cool. It is really cool. So that is a photo print. So it's on photo paper, printed on there, and yeah, the Four Horsemen are painful. Oh yes, yes. Oh, I'm never got a tattoo. I really have no desire to get a tattoo. The idea of that, and I'm watching people get it. It's like, that just sounds like pain. That just sounds like pain. Okay. And additionally, so this is also like really good. Like you're setting up the legal system is what they're doing. They're setting up the legal system. The other thing is Moses pronouncing this to everyone. Okay, I think this is really important. Okay, there is going to have it written down, but as you're starting this, you're declaring it to everyone in everyone's hearing. So everyone knows the rules together. And so that someone can object to it and the elders can say and enforce these as they happen. But one witness is not enough to convict anyone accused of any crime or offense they may have committed. A matter must be established by the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses. And this has always been this like baffling thing. The 2 or 3. Why don't you just say by 2? Because sometimes it can't fully be established by 2. It can't fully be established sometimes by 2 because 2 people might see different things. They might not corroborate. There might be some loops and gaps in there. Sometimes you might need 3. Sometimes 2 is enough. It just depends on the circumstance and the crime. But 2 or 3 is this common theme, which seems really odd. That like don't like because it's stated other places too. Like there were 2 or 3 people that went and did this. Well, you should be able to know was it 2 people or 3 people. But it's tying into that theme of 2 or 3. Oh, sorry, I need to go back to this screen so you can see that. 2 or 3. It's tying back into that. If if a malicious witness takes the stand to accuse someone of a crime, the 2 people involved in the dispute must stand in the presence of the Lord before the priest and the judges who are in office at the time. The judges must make a thorough investigation, and if the witness proves to be a liar, bearing false testimony, yes, that's what I'm going to say, giving false testimony, 10 Commandments, against his fellow Israelite, then do to the false witness as that witness intended to do to the other party. You must purge the evil from among you. The rest of the people will hear of this and be afraid. Okay, so again, the idea of deterrent is repeated again and again. The rest of the people will hear of this and be afraid, and never again will such an evil thing be done among you. Show no pity. Life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. So, yeah, that sounds familiar, doesn't it? An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But the idea here being, if the penalty of what I'm blaming and giving testimony against you is I get my hand cut off, then I, the witness who lied when found out that I lied, get my hand cut off. If it was death penalty, then I, the false witness, get death penalty. So false witnesses get proportional penalty to the penalty they were trying to get for the person they are lying about. So if all it is a $500 fine and I'm lying and think it's going to be funny for you to get a $500 fine, I'll do that. But if my life is on the line, I'm less inclined to actually lie about it. So, yeah. Seems straightforward. Yeah, you're talking about it being simple, basic stuff. It does seem that way. Going to war. Ooh. When you go to war against your enemies and see horses and chariots and an army greater than yours, do not be afraid of them, because the Lord your God, who brought you up out of Egypt, will be with you. When you are about to go into battle, the priest shall come forward and address the army. What? The priests are the ones who address the army, not the generals, not the king. And I know they don't have a king yet, but it's not them. It is the priest. The priests are the ones who are to address the army. He shall say, "Hear, Israel, today you are going into battle against your enemies. Do not be faint-hearted or afraid, and do not panic and be terrified by them. The Lord your God is one who goes with you to fight against your enemies to give you victory." The officers shall say to the army. Okay, so first the priest addressed, now the officers. Has anyone built a new house and not yet begun to live in it? Let him go home, or he may die in battle, and someone else may begin to live in it. So, how do you get out of serving in the army when we're going to war? You have a new obligation, and we're not going to take you. You're not going to take you. So it's not like, oh, well, it could be. Like, hey, I know we're going to go to war in the spring, so I'm going to build a house so I don't have to go. Because, it talks about the time when kings go to war. I could do that. Probably not a lot. I mean, you would have to have the resources to build a new home. And you're probably not doing that often. Has anyone planted a vineyard and not begun to enjoy it? Let him go home, or he may die in battle and someone else enjoy it. Okay, check this one out. If you remember, the first 3 years you are not to harvest from your vineyard. When you plant a tree, you're not supposed to harvest it for 3 years. And then in the 4th year, you give it as a tithe, as a celebration to God. So You need, like, if you plant an orchard, you get like out of the army for like 5 years, because you got 3 years where you can't harvest, one that you give it all to the priest and you give it all as an offering, and the fifth year you can enjoy it. So you get 5 years not having to serve in the army. Has anyone become pledged to a woman and not married her? Let him go home, or he may die in battle and someone else marry her. You're engaged. You don't go out to fight. Which is interesting how we did this differently throughout history, where often you would marry the guy who's going off to war, so that if he died, then you would get spousal benefits from him if he died. Which is also interesting. There is too, like, I don't think it says it here, but there is it was mentioned other places, that if you had just married, you didn't go to war. So this is an addition. I don't think it re-mentions the if you just got married, you don't have to go to war. Okay. Okay. Then the officer shall add, is anyone afraid or faint-hearted? Let him go home, so that his fellow soldiers do not become disheartened too. When the officers have finished speaking to the army, they shall appoint commanders over it. So, if you're just like a pacifist and you're chicken, skedaddle, we don't need you in the army. I'm like, okay, I can respect that. I don't want a chicken next to me when I'm going into war. I need the guy that's like pumping me up. I need Conan next to me telling me how good we're gonna do. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. When you march up to attack a city, make its people an offering of peace. Okay, wait. We're supposed to be driving them out of the land and showing no mercy and often slaughtering everyone. But he says when you march up to a city, make its people an offer of peace. That seems very different than the motif that we usually get. See, here's one of the things. You have to go and read all of Scripture to be able to balance everything out. When it's talking about battle language and it talks about leave no one and do all of that, and the next verse says, and don't intermarry, it's talking about all those on the battlefield of not showing mercy. And I know sometimes it does say, and don't leave any women, children, and all of that. And sometimes, yes, that is the way. And other times it's just using hyperbolic language. And how do you tell the difference between them? I don't know. I always can. I don't know. I always can. But I know that that's part of what they're doing, because we have other passages like this. Offer peace to a city. If they accept and open their gates, all the people in it shall be subject to forced labor and shall work for you. If, if they refuse to make peace and then engage in battle, lay siege to the city. When the Lord your God delivers it into your hands, put to the sword all the men in it. As for the women, the children, the livestock, and everything else in the city, you may take these as plunder for yourself, and you may use the plunder the Lord your God gives you from your enemies. This is how you are to treat all the cities that are at a distance from you and do not belong to nations nearby. Okay, so those that are not nearby, that's how you treat them if you have to go over there. However, in the cities of the nations the Lord your God is giving you as inheritance, do not leave alive anything that breathes. Completely destroy, and that is dedicating them over to God by completely destroying them. And here's our list. The Hittites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. Oh, the Girgasites, which we had reading yesterday, was it? Or yes, either yesterday or Tuesday. We had a seventh one listed. This is the list of 6, but we had a 7th one that was listed. They didn't get listed in here again. As the Lord your God command you. Otherwise, they will teach you to follow the detestable things they do in worshiping their gods, and you will sin against the Lord your God. So the reason for this, and there's usually a reason given, why you do certain things a certain way, you're going to fall You're going to fall into doing what they do. You're going to watch what they do. You're going to think, "Oh, they're doing better than me. I should do what they do." This is this is like the first. Don't keep up with the Joneses. Like the Joneses around you, the Joneses nation next to you that looks like it's all going good. And why is it all going good? Well, this might be why. No, that's not why. And no, it won't come to that in the end. So it always forgets the termites. Yep. It does sound like, and I sometimes like parasites. I often just pronounce that as parasites. The Hittites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the parasites. Uh, so yeah, I get you there. I get you there. When you lay siege to a city for a long time, fighting against it to capture it, do not destroy its trees by putting an axe to them, because you can eat their fruit. Do not cut them down. Are the trees people that you should besiege them? That is, wow, I don't remember that. Or down the use in the siege for fruit trees and for the benefit of the people. Okay. So, interesting. Other nations would cut down all of the trees and use them as part of making their siege weapons and destroy them. And he's saying, don't cut them down. And here specifically, looking at fruit trees. So, however, you may cut down trees that you know are not fruit trees and use them to build siege works until the city at war within you falls. So, yeah, so like the oak tree, yeah, you can cut that one down. The apple tree, we're not cutting apple trees down. There's fruit on there that can provide for the army, that can provide for people. We're not killing fruit trees. Besides, if we plant a fruit tree, we got to wait 5 years. We got to wait 5 years to get the fruit off of it, according to the way we're doing it. First 3 years, you don't do anything. You don't harvest anything. The 4th year, you harvest and you give it to God. And the 5th year, you can enjoy it. So, we're not doing that. Bum, 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 bum. On to 21 already. Let's see, where are we going today? Wow. We are breezing through this. We are breezing through this. We might actually get to some Luke today. That would be fascinating if we did. That'd be fascinating if we did. I'd be very excited if we did. Okay. Ooh. Ooh, I don't remember this section. I'm just reading the title there. Atonement for an unsolved murder. How do you get the country, get the land right with God when there's an unsolved murder? Wow. Okay, I'm intrigued. If, if someone is found slain, lying in a field in the land the Lord your God is giving you to possess, and it is not known who the killer was, your elders and judges shall go out and measure the distance from the body to the neighboring towns. Then the elders of the town nearest the body shall take a heifer that has never been worked and has never worn the yoke, and lead it down to the valley that has not been plowed or planted, or where there is a flowing stream. So you got some options. You're going to a valley, not plowed, not planted, and there is a flowing stream. There in the valley, they are to break the heifer's neck. The Levitical priest shall step forward, for the Lord your God has chosen them to minister and to pronounce blessing in the name of the Lord, and to decide all the cases of dispute and assault. Then all the elders of the town nearest the body shall wash their hands over the heifer whose neck was broken in the valley, and they shall declare, our hands did not shed this blood, nor did our eyes see it done. Accept this atonement for your people Israel, whom you have redeemed, Lord, and do not hold your people guilty of the blood of an innocent person. Then the bloodshed will be atoned for, and you will have purged from yourself the guilt of shedding innocent blood, since you have done what is right in the eyes of the Lord. That is so interesting. So, we have an unsolved murder. We track it down to the nearest town, in the nearest town. We have the elders come out. They offer an offering to make atonement for their town's presumed actions, so that the land does not get corrupted. When you go to war against your enemies, the Lord your God delivers them into your hands, and you take captives. Wait, I thought we're supposed to kill everyone. Here we just had a passage about peace, and now we have a passage about captives. If, if you notice among the captives a beautiful woman, and are attracted to her, you may take her as your wife. Bring her into the home, and have her shave her head, trim her nails, that's a weird thing, trim her nails, and put aside the clothes she was wearing when captured, after she has lived in your house and mourned her father and mother for a full month. So you give her time to grieve. Then you may go to her and be her husband, and she shall be your wife. If, if you are not pleased with her, let her go wherever she wishes. You must not sell her or treat her as a slave, since you have dishonored her. So, you go and you see someone, and boy, let's get married. You let her mourn. Well, the other thing too is you shave her head and trim her nails. I'm not sure the trimming nails part. That seems a little odd. But if you just think of things that distinguish people as beautiful, the way that we look at women, their hair is one of the things that we talk about adorning them. We also look at all the ladies doing the fingernail polish. I know guys do too, but primarily over the centuries, it's been women that would get nails done, all that kind of stuff, and go to hair salons and all of that. So you have her put aside her clothes, shave her head, trim her nails, and let her cry and weep and mourn for a month. And then if you still find her beautiful, then you can marry her. But if you're unsatisfied, you send her away. How did you dishonor her? This is not about, oh, you slept with her. No, you dishonored her by shaving her head. You dishonored her by shaving her head. So that is dishonoring to someone, is to shave their head. So you have dishonored her. You were trying to bring her in, and now you decide, nah, shaved her head. She got some funky bumps on there, or something, and no, she doesn't look good bald, so no. If, if a man has two wives, and he loves one but not the other, and both bear him sons, but the firstborn is the son of the wife he does not love, when he wills his property to his sons, he must not give the rights of the firstborn to the son of the wife he loves in preference to his actual firstborn, the son of the wife he does not love. Okay, so this is fascinating, because this is exactly what Jacob does. Hey, with a resub, okay, Cockroach, 4 months, 4-month hype. Thank you, friend. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Good morning, Pastor and chat.
Hey, that alert's working. Cool. Yeah, some hype in the chat. So, if you get 2 wives, you can't, like Jacob did, love the younger wife and take the firstborn of the younger, or the one you love. Doesn't matter which one's first, but the younger son. I was saying younger wife. The younger son, who is Joseph, who he gives and establishes him as the one with the double portion, the Behor with the double portion. That's why there's Manasseh and Ephraim. Those are the 2 sons. But Jacob also had made a declaration that these are my sons, not your sons, because they're replacing you. So there's some other stuff going on there. But essentially, this is all saying, hey, what Jacob did was wrong, and we're not going that route. We're not going that route. We're not using Jacob as a precedent to say, I can give to whichever son I love the most, and whichever wife I love the most, I'll give to that first. No. We need to establish birth order, and birth order is the thing. That is for wills and property. So, yes, the son is the first sign of a father's strength. The right of the firstborn belongs to him. Yeah, so here, yeah, oh, sorry, I missed this line. He must acknowledge the son of his unloved wife as the firstborn by giving him a double share of all he has. So, and again, the reason of the double share is because the oldest son is the one who cares over the whole family, who oversees all of the care of the whole family. So they are the Behor. They are the one who is in charge. So there is the portion that is yours as an inheritance, and there is the portion that is yours to administer, to make sure that no one in the family is destitute, and to oversee the whole family and take care of the whole family. So you get a portion for you and a portion to care for the family. It's not a, hey, I'm the oldest, I get double, it's all for me. No. You have a responsibility to care for the whole family. As you are the caretaker of the whole family, you get a portion for yourself and you get a portion for the care of the family. I don't think we quite get that, and so that's why it's always felt like this is unfair. Oh, yeah, it is unfair. The oldest is the caretaker of the whole family and to oversee that everyone is cared for. So, yeah, that does seem unfair. If, if someone has a stubborn and rebellious son who does not obey his father and mother and will not listen to them, and when they discipline him, his father and mother shall take hold of him and bring him to the elders at the gate of his town. They shall say to the elders, this son of ours is stubborn and rebellious. He will not obey us. He is a glutton and a drunkard. Okay. Jesus gets accused of being a glutton and a drunkard. So if you didn't catch this, this phrase of when Jesus gets accused of being a glutton and a drunkard, they're accusing him of being a rebellious son. You are not in line. You are out of line, sir. You are out of line. Now, the other thing, too. So, it says a son who is rebellious. Is this an 8-year-old? Are you calling an 8-year-old a glutton and a drunkard? No. No, you're not. You're not allowing your kid to have that much food and drink at 8 years old. Maybe in your teenage years, you're sneaking around and you can be doing that, but an 8-year-old, no. So this is not about elementary school children. It's not about elementary school children. It's about people with the capacity, essentially, I'm going to say 13 because that's where bar mitzvah. So it's got to be 13 and above, really. It's got to be 13 and above that you're talking about here. I'm watching you people. Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for the biddies. You're up to 1974. My sister was born in 74. She just had her birthday this week. Thank you for coming in. I love the excitement you always bring. I'm watching you people. Hope your day is going well. Hey, thanks for the hug. Thanks for the hug. Appreciate that, friend. Okay, then all the men of his town are to stone him to death. You must purge the evil from among you. All Israel will hear of it and be afraid. Again, this is the plan, is deterrent. We do something that's an extreme to deter people from doing that. I am doing really well, If you can see, I've got most of my setup back in order, and I'm in my stream room. So I still have all my boxes with my books, because there used to be, behind me, the room's all flipped. There used to be a bookshelf in there that the fish tank was in. I just put it on a desk, a dresser. It works better that way. So, but again, if this is a toddler, an elementary school kid, you're not accusing them of being a drunk and a glutton. They're not a drunkard and a glutton in elementary school. So that's not what it is. This is going to be teenagers, 20-somethings. You are still in the household of your father and mother, and you're not listening. So there's all that. Look at all the mod love. My goodness. Those are some good mod love. And then there's all the hearts. You got a lot of A lot of those mod loves. Bum ba bum ba bum bum bum. Oh, and I love the green. I love the green hearts. Ooh, the purple revolving heart. That's nice. Cool. Okay, now, okay, I'm sorry, but the title that you come up with is various laws. Like, you couldn't put more thought into that. Like, we don't know what to put down here. Just call it various laws. That's what that sounds like to me. Like, then why are you putting these titles anyway? Okay. If, bum, 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 if someone guilty of a capital offense is put to death and their body is exposed on a pole, on a tree, you must not leave the body hanging on a tree overnight, on a pole overnight. Does this remind you of anything? Be sure to bury it in the same day, because anyone who is hung on a pole is under God's curse. You must not desecrate the land the Lord your God is giving you as an inheritance. So, what did enemies do? Enemies would put up and hang bodies of soldiers and leave them there as a deterrent to scare whatever tactic you might want to call that, fear tactic, whatever. You leave bodies hanging out there for the birds and all that stuff. We're not doing that. We're not disgracing the body of someone. So when someone dies, you bury them the same day. Now, it's interesting. They talk about hanging on a pole. This is not Roman crucifixion, though we would refer this to Jesus being hung on a tree. I think I want to go look up a word for pole here. So we are in Deuteronomy 21. Okay. I'm going to go look that word up. But impaling was a common practice long before. Hey, thanks for getting the word count. Long before crucifixion came around. Crucifixion was around before the Romans, but they kind of took it to a new level. Okay, so we need 23. One little far. Oh, we're in Deuteronomy 1. Okay. I must have mistyped. Yeah, I thought it was on a tree. Eights. Yeah, it's a tree. Thought so. Thought it was hung on a tree.
Strong's H 6086. Eights.
I got that one right.
Eights.
I know that one. Yeah, it's a tree. Also, notice this. Tree, wood, timber, stock, plank, stalk, stick, gallows. Okay. I'll do this real quick. Just off cam, you can't see it. This is a tree. Does it look like a tree? No, but it's made from a tree. So it still is a tree. So we just call, what the word for tree would be the word for wood. It's essentially what it is. So, hey, there's wood out there. You know what I can do with wood? I can make something out of wood. Or, I can make something out of wood. Two different purposes. Or, you can see back here, all of those three things right there. I'm trying to figure out how to do this. All of those three things back there are made of wood as well. All different purposes than this. I have lots of things of wood. You can't quite see it. You know what? Let me just pan this a second so you can see. There in the corner are all of my carved wood items. Oh, there's also a copper plate in there. So the word for it is tree. So they're translating it as a pole, implying it's an implement for killing someone instead of just saying a tree. And hanging doesn't mean by a rope necessarily, like lynching. It doesn't necessarily imply that. hanging on a pole would have more been the impaling kind of thing. Like you could have been killed and hung up on the pole, or you could have been killed by getting hung on the pole. Yes, so paper is a tree. Yes, paper is a tree. Exactly. Yes, so thank you for mentioning that. This is a coaster. So this is tree. Yes, this is tree. And sticky notes are also tree. So cursed is anyone who is hanging on a sticky note. or comic book. Comic book is also a tree. And yeah, so are all the books that I have. Those are all trees, yes. Camera change. A little bit. Ooh, Wywis is right up on the cam too. Let me show you a second. Oh, he's going down. He was right there. There we go. Wywis right there on the right. And he just went off cam. He just went off cam. He was right there with his fins all out. Toilet paper. Cursed is anyone who hangs on toilet paper. Yes. Yep. You're catching on. Yeah. So for instance, there's a podcast called Two Trees I listen to. I really like the podcast. They talk about, and it's called Two Trees because in the Garden of Eden there's two trees. And then as you travel through Scripture, pay attention to how many times there are also two trees in the story. Sometimes it's a staff, and sometimes it's not a staff, or it's a tree. But sometimes you might have a tree and a staff together. Or you have, I'm thinking with Saul's death, there's something along those lines with he has a spear and he's by a tree. So one is an instrument of death, which is the spear, and the tree that's there is an instrument of life because it gives shade, it provides fruit, it does those. You also have Hagar with her son Ishmael, and he is put under a bush, which is a tree, and it's an arrow's distance away, which is another tree. So the shade of the tree is trying to give life to him, and the arrow is an instrument of death. So you have that often throughout Scripture where you have two. Yeah, squirrel. My wife would like an easy way to determine what is figurative versus literal. Pop Taterhead, context is the only way to understand if it's figurative or literal. So here, when it's talking about cursed is anyone who is hanging on a pole, it doesn't literally, well, it said tree. That doesn't need to be literal a tree. Their concept is an instrument made of wood. So gallows would be you're cursed. An actual tree, you're cursed. The cross, you're cursed. Any of those things. So yeah, we're having a little fun and taking a little far and going, paper, nobody's going to be hung on paper. It's just not going to be an instrument that we use. But that is a good question, Pop Taterhead, about when to use literal and when not to. I do have a list of like 10 different ways that things can be, which is a helpful guide. Shoot me a message and I can send that to you, Pop. Which is helpful. But one of the things also is knowing what genre of literature it is. And genre is just the style of writing. So, if it is in a psalm or a proverb, that is poetry. It's artistic language. So you don't take things in there always literally because they're used with prose and you put things comparing to other things, so it is the motif of what they're doing, so you don't take it literal, or you don't, that's not your first choice. If it's apocalyptic literature, that's also a style of writing which is intended to use metaphor, so you don't take it literally when you're reading apocalyptic literature, because the meaning is intended to be hidden, not greatly hidden, but hidden from a surface reading of it, of taking it literally. It's intended to not be taken literally. I think within the Gospels, when you have storytelling, there's parables within there. Those parables don't have to be taken literally, but the settings of the parables would be taken literally. I'm by the Sea of Galilee. I'm on the Sea of Galilee. They went to Jerusalem. They went for this feast. I think those parts would be literal and the other parts would not be. And then you have some writings that, like the Torah, which have laws and rules and are storytelling, where sometimes, yeah, do I take this literal or do I not take it literal? The ground opening up and swallowing people, that seems literal. Snakes biting people, that seems literal. But other times, I don't know what to do with it. So, and I think we're supposed to wrestle with it. I think we're supposed to wrestle with Scripture more than most people want to. They want to read it as black and white, and I don't think we're supposed to, because then we don't have to wrestle with it. I know some of these were saying these laws seem simple. But if you're those parents whose child won't obey, when is it that they won't obey that they're a drunk and a glutton? And when is it they're just rebelling for a short time and they'll return? How do you know the difference within those? You have to just do the best you can, and that's why they go to the elders and present to the elders, and the elders might be able to make some correction before you actually get to the point of having to have that person put to death. So, anyway, hope that's helpful. Hope that's helpful. All right, how far were we going? We're going 22 today? Yeah, we're going 22 today. Bum, ba-da-bum, bum, bum. We should be getting close to an ad. Oh, wait a minute. The ad must have already taken place. We're after 9 o'clock. So, okay. 22. If, bum, 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 if you see your fellow Israelites, ox or sheep, straying, do not ignore it, but be sure to take it back to its owner. If, bum, 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 if they do not live near you, or if, bum, 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 you do not know who owns it, take it home with you and keep it until they come looking for it. Then give it back. Do the same if, bum, 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 if you find their donkey or cloak or anything else they have lost, do not ignore it. That's such an interesting thought. Like, well, for instance, I'll just pick on what would be more common today. I see a lost dog or cat. I don't just go, meh, not mine. No, you go and, especially if they have a collar, like you might not know if it's a stray, animal living out in the wild, especially cats, stray cats, but or in some cities in Europe, in Eastern Europe, there are packs of dogs that wander some cities. If you've never seen that, it's kind of fascinating. But anyway, you see there's a collar, you go up and you take it. If you know whose it is, you return it. If you don't know whose it is, you take it home. And you wait for them to come and looking for it. And you'll hear about them looking for it. We might go another step and take it to the vet. And actually, I heard about a new thing that they have scanners. Like, I know you can chip your animals and people know about that, but they now have like scanners available for people to more easily be able to take and get it scanned. I can't remember where I heard that story. Anyway, it was a story so that people don't have to, wander around and try to get to a vet and all those kinds of things and get an appointment to get a scan. They could do otherwise and do it themselves. If, bum, 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 if you see your fellow Israelite's donkey or ox fallen on the road, do not ignore it. Help the owner get it to its feet. So, wow, so this is an animal that fell over. I'm going to guess it might be burdened with a load in order to fall over. Otherwise, I think the animal would get up. Johnny Darko, morning, y'all. Hope you're having a great morning. We are. We're chugging along here in Deuteronomy. A woman must not wear men's clothing, nor a man wear women's clothing, for the Lord your God detests anyone who does this. Okay, I don't think, and this is one of those things where I remember as a kid, people taking this and being really rigid about what is men's clothes and what is women's clothes and those kinds of things. I don't think this is simple clothing, like attire. No, no, no. I think it's for the purposes of deception. I think that's what's going on here is the purposes of deception to I'm going to as a woman wear men's clothing and try to do something deceitful by having worn those clothes. Is the deceitful thing to get out of some obligation or to hide that I'm a woman so I don't have to get married? Perhaps. That's not what you should do. Or is it that I'm going to wear women's clothing as a man so I can get out of military service? So I don't have to actually go to war. Well, I don't have to. I can say I'm afraid and I can go home. But I think what's going on here is not simply about wearing clothes and what clothes are permissible to wear. It is, I think, that there is something nefarious going on. I'm using the clothing as a disguise for something. So don't do that. And I feel like there is a story somewhere where people did disguise themselves in the Bible by wearing by the clothes that they wore, but I can't remember that. MC Wolfcat, hey, welcome in, friend. Welcome in. If anyone knows that or has an idea of the passage, maybe I'm wrong on that, but if you come across a bird's nest beside the road, either in a tree or on the ground, and the mother is sitting on the young or on the eggs, do not take the mother with the young. You may take the young, or you may you may take the young, but be sure to let the mother go, so that it may go well with you, and you may have a long life. That is an interesting so that. Why would I have a long life if I let the mother bird go? Why would I have a long life if I let the mother bird go and I only take the young or the eggs? Well, one of the things is if you let the mother bird go, then that mother can have more children. You're taking the eggs. You don't also take the mother, then you have no eggs. Now, this is seemingly out in the wild. So whatever kind of bird might nest by the road, up in a tree. I happen to have robins right now who are trying to make a nest on my porch. I don't want the robin eggs. I don't want the robin. But I knocked the nest down so that they won't stay and won't lay eggs there. Go somewhere else. Go somewhere. Could it also be a deeper meaning than just clothing? Do you have a thought on that? But like I said, I think the wearing the clothing here has to do with you're doing something deceitful by it, not a matter of I just want to dress this way, I want to look this way. I don't think that it's that. Like, for instance, I could wear a kilt. It'd be fine. I'm wearing a kilt, but don't put a dress on. Because that's women's clothing. See, if it has the label of a dress, it's women's clothing, so you can't wear that. Well, a kilt, that's a men's garment. Well, a skirt is not much different than a kilt. So, like, when you're drawing lines there, or who's to say what style shoes, like high heels, those are women's clothes. Well, men are the first ones who wore high heels. You go back to France, it was the fashion among men to wear high heels. And then it became the fashion for women to wear high heels. So men did it first. So which ones is it? Are all women wearing high heels, wearing men's clothing? So, but like I said, I think there's a level of deception that is going to be tied into it. Why are you doing this? It doesn't say. This is also, all it says is it's detestable. It doesn't tell us why. It doesn't tell us motives. But I think we can see that. I don't know. I don't know if there's something deeper going on. Like I said, I think there's a level of deception is how I see what's going on there with the intent to deceive. It doesn't say that. It doesn't give a motive for doing it, but I don't think it's just a prohibition on what style of clothes you're permitted to wear. I don't think it's we don't have any other like prohibitions like that. Lucis, the daughter-in-law that was waiting for the third husband who was young, but her father-in-law didn't give her the third son, so once she found out her father-in-law was out of the widow garb, she dressed as a prostitute, got pregnant. Oh, but we don't have a switching of we do have deception there, and yes, the clothing, deception piece there. I like that connection, Lucis. I like that connection. But she's not dressing like a man. She just switches from widow's clothes to prostitute clothes, but it's definitely for deception, and the deception works, and the deception is actually praised for her bringing honor to her dead husbands. So I don't know if that's the thing we should think about with the wearing clothing, but I like the connection anyway. Yeah, of course. Yeah, just a type of clothes. Yeah, she switches types of clothes, but I still like that connection of the clothing piece though. Okay. Anyway, so I was getting at is you don't take both the young and the parent at the same time. If you take both, then you end a population line. Like you're killing off everything. So you don't take the parents and take the children when you are harvesting eggs from birds. You don't kill the mother and the young. You leave one to be able to continue to reproduce. So, MC, I'm just thinking about what's happening today. To me, there seems to be a connection, but it's very faint connection. Many have been properly deceived by what's been happening lately. I don't know the straw that's connecting everything for me is quite thin. Yeah, and I don't know that's why I know, like I was saying when we were covering this, I remember as a kid, like this was like you can't wear that. That's women's clothes. That's men's clothes. But they were treating it when I was a child as rigid rules, not of what's going on. And yeah, what people are doing today, in some ways, is defining what clothing is for what. But I don't think that a lot of those people are doing it with deceptive practices. Some might be, and there might be some other things going on. So anyway, yeah, I understand the concerns of what happens today, and I'm not sure entirely always what to do or how to do that. But what I do know is I'm going to treat everyone with love. That's the thing I know for sure, is treat everyone with love. So, okay. Moving on. When you build a new house, make a parapet around your roof so that you may not bring the guilt of bloodshed on your house if someone falls from your roof. Okay, so this is some kind of barrier. I like the structure of house that they're making. Like, you need a guardrail around the house. Like, it's, for instance, like we usually have rules of if your deck is 2 feet high and lower, you don't need to have a fence or a guardrail around it. But if your your deck is higher, you need to have a guardrail on your deck to prevent someone from falling off accidentally. So your house is clearly going to be taller than decks are going to be. So, like, think of your roof. Someone's fallen from 10 feet or more, so you need to put a barrier so that people can't just accidentally fall off your roof. Now, they would have had flat roofs. They don't have the rain and snow like I do, so they would just have a flat roof. MC, yeah, I see it more as a metaphor. Man, the delay today is massive. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I've been having issues with that, and I keep getting this warning too saying I'm not connected. Also, it's not showing up with any of the emotes over here. They show in the chat, but they don't show on my screen, which is showing the chat. So I don't know what's going on. Oh, 2 feet is kind of scary to fall off too? Yeah, but the amount of injury that you're going to get from 2 feet is not usually going to be life-threatening. Then again, I'm imagining falling off in my power chair. So, oh, well, yeah, in your power chair, the injury might be more serious because of the power chair. Yeah. Anyway, the point is, protect people. So, for instance, if you were hanging out last fall, and well, I can show you real quick, actually. Well, we'll look at the fish a second here. So right there, let me just click on that one alone. Right there is a deck, and there is no guardrail on the deck that we built. I did not put a guardrail on it. You can see the block, or the box right here is 2 feet high. That box is 2 feet high. So the deck on the lakeside is slightly higher than 2 feet high. We intend to plant bushes all along the front here on this side, and because this sand will come and go on this side of the deck. So currently it doesn't need a rail, but maybe in the future it would. So we're going to plant bushes all along. You can see there's one right there already planted in the middle, all along this side, so they will grow up over this so that you have something to fall into or a barrier from going off this side of the deck. So anyway, just a real life. That's what we got. And there's no ramp, so you wouldn't be able to get on that deck with your power chair. There's steps. It's only a single step up, but yeah. Okay, do not plant 2 kinds of seed in your vineyard. If you do, not only the crops you plant, but also the fruit of the vineyard will be defiled. Okay, so will be forfeit to the sanctuary. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Yeah, the more you know. So don't plant 2 kinds of seed. Like, just single plants. Like, if it's barley, you're planting barley. But it says in your vineyard. So that's just grapes. That's just grapes. So whatever. So if you're doing Merlot, you're doing Merlot. If you're doing Chardonnay, you're doing Chardonnay. Just plant a single seed source. Yes, you could say preventing GMOs. Yeah, on some level. I don't. Yeah, I don't know further of what to say about this other than a couple of years ago I did have several varieties of squash that I planted in my garden. And I have done that before, but where they were planted and how I had them, they got cross-pollinated by the bees. And I had inedible gourds that came from those. So they got pollinated back and forth, and I got gourds that did not look like. So I had acorn squash that got cross-pollinated with maybe the butternut squash and the yellow squash, the zucchini, and they just made all kinds of weird-looking squash that had no flavor. So I don't know what all constitutes planting 2 kinds of seed or not planting 2 kinds of seed. Is this literally, if you have a vineyard, you only have to have Merlot, you can't have Chardonnay and Merlot. But what if I have an acre of land between the 2 different vineyards? So I have one vineyard over here of one kind and one vineyard over here of another kind. Does that violate it? I don't know. Yeah, MC Wildcat. Oops, yeah. I ended up with a bunch of inedible squash and gourds because of that. Do not plow with an ox and a donkey yoked together. This seems like a weird thought. Why not have an ox and a donkey? Because they have different mentalities and different strengths. This just seems like practical advice. Doesn't really seem like it lands the level of prohibition. But notice what we're doing. The 2 kinds. This is setting up the 2 kinds of seed. The 2 different kinds is what's setting it up. Then we have an ox and a donkey. Clearly different. And yeah, I don't think I'm going to make that mistake. Probably not. And then don't wear clothes of wool and linen woven together. So here's the key. Woven together, not like, hey, this is made of linen and this is made of wool. I can do that. They're not woven together. And if you look at the priest garments, there is a couple of things that they give instructions on, all of the different things. And I believe they do have both wool and linen mentioned in the garments. Make tassels on the four corners of your cloak, the cloak you wear. So we have a bunch of prohibitions, and then we have a make tassels, and there were supposed to be blue strands in those tassels, if you remember. I'm watching people. I mean, God is the OG gardener. Yeah, he knows his plant life. Oh, exactly. And I don't know when and where to look at, for instance, when I go to get seeds for my garden, not saying the GMOs, but even below the GMOs, like corn in itself has been modified for generations to be what it was. Like if we go back historically and we're digging things up and we find things, we know that corn that the Mayans and the Incas used is slightly different than what we have on some level, and then going further back in the Mayan and Inca era is even greatly different. It looks more like, have you ever seen baby corn? It looks more like a cross between baby corn and also the barley kind of, wheat kind of a plant. So, oh yeah, also bananas. Yeah, very true. Banana. See, one of the things. See, the thing is we don't have a reason why the prohibition of the two kinds of seeds. We don't have any prohibition on why the two kinds of seeds, why the two kinds of don't put a donkey and an ox together, or the wool and linen. We have no explanation for this prohibition of why you don't put two things together. There's no explanation for why you don't put the two things together. We're just simply told not to do these things. So, I don't know. Like the bananas are like the number of bananas out there are all essentially clones of one tree, and if disease got into it, it would wipe out the bananas all over the world. Yeah, and I'm just curious about the wool and linen. Yeah, me too. But I think on some level, like the thing is I can look at these from a practical standpoint, especially the cross pollinating of stuff, and end up with inedible fruit that doesn't work, or putting together a donkey and an ox pulling, and they're going to be different heights and different speeds and different strengths, and it's going to be bad for both of them. And the wearing of the linen and the wool, yeah, I was thinking too, maybe the shrinking of the fabric. They're going to pull and move at different lengths and shrink at different rates, and you're going to just have a garment that's ruined. But why do we need to have it listed in this kind of way that says don't wear clothes with wool and linen woven together? I don't know. We also had the don't take both the mother and the young at the same time. So there's something more that culturally I think is going on here, and I don't know what all it is. I don't know what all it is. And then you have the tassels on the corner, so that seems a weird place to put it. Okay. If if a man takes a wife and after sleeping with her dislikes her and slanders her and gives her a bad name, saying, I married this woman, but when I approach her, I did not find proof of her virginity. Then the young woman's father and the mother shall bring to the town elders at the gate proof that she was a virgin. I don't know what that proof is. Her father will say to the elders, I gave my daughter in marriage to the man, but he dislikes her. Now he has slandered her and said, I did not find your daughter to be a virgin, but here is the proof of my daughter's virginity. Then her parents shall display the cloth before the elders. Yeah, that's what I was thinking it. If you get into stuff in the Middle Ages, what would take place would be either, depending on country, witnesses to the act to be able to see that the woman would bleed the first time with intercourse, or you would just have it, she would keep it, and here's the proof that this was the wedding night and that she did. That was kind of what they're looking for with proof there. I know that seems odd and weird, but that would be how they had done it through the years. So here's the cloth. That I wasn't sure if that's the way they were going for proof. And the elder shall take the man and punish him. They shall fine him 100 shekels of silver and give them to the young woman's father, because the man has given an Israelite virgin a bad name. She shall continue to be his wife. He must not divorce her as long as he lives. That is an interesting thing. So this guy is trying to get out of it. There's a way to protect this woman from a bad reputation and slander, but she still remains with him. I don't know who's being punished there. If she is or he is, but it's no. And the other thing is he dislikes her. What does he dislike about her? Doesn't matter. He decides the way out is to slander her and get out of this. Yeah, we're going to protect her from the slander, but I don't know, if entirely it. And again, we had also some of these rules are put in place and designed to be preventative. So if you know that that's the case, if you slander and there's proof, you won't try it. So then you don't get into the argument. You don't get into the argument. And one of the things we tend to see is, oh, these are ways of protecting the man. No, look at this rule. This rule is to protect the woman. This rule is to protect the woman, to protect her reputation, and to protect her marriage, so to speak. If, however, the charge is true and no proof of the young woman's virginity can be found, she shall be brought to the door of her father's house, and there the men of the town shall stone her to death. She has done an outrageous thing in Israel by being promiscuous while still in her father's household. You must purge the evil from among you. So, if true, then she's punished. So you have both sides being protected. If the man finds out and it was that she wasn't a virgin, he's protected from the deception. If he is deceiving and lying, then she's protected. Let's see. Let me get it caught up. Yes, also I'm watching people. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of setting them apart from other nations. Yeah, that we're not going to do it the same way as everyone else with the 2 vineyards and the 2 things and all that. Maybe some of it is just the setting apart. Lucis, I've read about a culture that the parents wait for after the deed was done. They would hang the cloth in the banquet hall to show to all the guests. Yes, so that would be then everyone is a witness. Yeah, on the wedding day. Yep. Sparky Pugwash, hey, welcome in. Women couldn't own land or money back then, so she would have had nothing outside of marriage. Yes. In some cases, land was permissible if your father had no sons at all, so that it could stay in your family line, and you were, in a sense, maybe not the owner of the land, you were the proprietor of the land, so that your children could inherit from their grandfather the land. So I don't know if the women fully owned it, but the women would take possession of it and would pass on to their children. But if you married, so you had to marry within the clan, so it stayed within the clan. So there is a little bit of that. And I don't know about the money thing. I don't know if women couldn't have money, because there's several passages that talk about women who have money and means. But yeah, because you could do work, because like Ruth is working in the fields, and money wasn't the biggest piece of exchange either. Labor and goods and services was more of an exchange thing. But hey, Sparky Pugwash, thanks for the thoughts, and thanks for coming in. Appreciate you being here. We're reading in Deuteronomy, if you did not see that, and no one had mentioned it to you. So, Papsio, morning all. Morning, Papsio. Okay. If a man is found sleeping with another man's wife, both the man who slept with her and the woman must die. You must purge the evil from Israel. Okay, I think this thought here is thinking of it's consensual with both. I don't know that this is an issue of the man taking advantage of the woman. So just to clarify that, I think that's what it is. If if a man happens to meet in a town a virgin pledged to be married and he sleeps with her. So pledged to be married is a legally binding state. So it's and part of that was when you made the pledge to be married. After that pledge was made, you went to your household, your father's household, and you would work on building the place where you're going to reside for the first year of your marriage. And then you would go and you would get the woman, and when your dad said you had prepared the place well enough, then the wedding would go, and then you would go back. So this woman is engaged. The legal status is in place. Why? Because the man is going and building the place where they will live. So the commitment is made because he's done the pledge and he's making the place to dwell in. So you are going to, so it's a legal status, which is different than us. Like, oh, I got you an engagement ring. There's no more happening until you decide we're planning the wedding. There's no preparation kind of thing going on there. Okay. You shall take both of them to the gate of the town and stone them to death. The young woman because she was in a town and did not scream for help, and the man because he violated another woman's wife, you must purge the evil from among you. Okay, so this is interesting. Because what it's making the assumption here is she doesn't scream, so she's consenting. That's, I think, what that's implying is she's consenting to this. Hey, thanks for the follow. Thanks for the follow, Sparky Pugwash. That's a fun name. Sparky Pugwash. Do you have pugs, by the way? My mom and my sister used to have pugs. They don't anymore. They have different dogs. But if, if out in the country a man happens to meet a young woman pledged to be married and rapes her, only the man who has done it shall die. Do nothing to the woman. She has committed no sin deserving death. This case is like that of someone who attacks and murders a neighbor. For the man found the young woman out in the country, and though the betrothed woman screamed, there was no one to rescue her. See, here's the assumption. She doesn't want it. The other two up here seem consensual. This one is not consensual. So it's not like, because this one also, and I don't know what the word is. I'm not going to go look that one up. You could go look that up. I do look up a lot of words, but I'm going to just pass on that one. No, I have a miniature pin, very small doggo. Okay, I don't know what a miniature pincer? Ooh, is that what it is, a pincer? My sister-in-law did have a miniature Doberman, little tiny toy miniature Doberman years ago. Oh, and when I lived in Dallas area, the common thing was to have a dog purse, and your little tiny dogs that are small like cats. You would go shopping and you'd have the purse around your arm and the little dog head would be sticking out here, and you'd carry your dog around and do your shopping with your dog with you. I thought that was weird. Those are adorable. All right. If a man happens to meet a virgin who is not pledged to be married and rapes her, and they are discovered, he shall pay her father 50 shekels of silver. He must marry the young woman, for he has violated her. He can never divorce her as long as he lives. So, again, this does not seem necessarily from our perspective just for the woman. But if this happened to her, you are paying the bride price to the father. The father, it's not like you can get her for free. And part of it was a replacement. It's not a buying, purchasing. It is a replacing her value to the household that you are taking from the other household. You're taking from one household to yours. So you're compensating for what you're taking away. It's not purchase. It's not barter. It is an honor to give to your family, to the family you're leaving, to have that being given so that you go. But it's also ensuring that she has a place, because her likelihood of being married after this is gone. And we're not going to let you just go around willy-nilly doing this. Yes, that poor woman. I know. It feels that way. Yeah, Paris Hilton set that trend. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was Paris Hilton that did that. Yes, fancy people. And I do feel like that way too, the poor woman. But we also have to look at cultural setting and time frame and all of that when this was being instituted. Um, the idea of marriage for love is not usually the way that things took place. You married to bind families together, and for other reasons. Love may have happened, it may not have happened. So, a man is not to marry his father's wife. He must not dishonor his father's bed. Oh, that's just a text variant and the numbering there. Okay, so it's not something about dishonoring his father's bed. Okay. So there's a couple of these weird things like this that you're like, why would people do that? And well, frankly, all you have to do is go watch Jerry Springer. I don't think it's on anymore. The other guy took over for Jerry that was like the bouncer guy on the show. I didn't watch it much, but it would be on when you're flipping channels occasionally. But yeah, it'd be like the Jerry Springer show with so and so's on, and you don't know, but I'm like, they were ridiculous things. No, I don't. I don't think that this necessarily means his mother. Okay, because this isn't a prohibition to not sleep with your mother. It is taking your father's wife. So, for instance, what happens? Okay, so there's good question. Let me go into more explanation here. Okay, if we back up, when Reuben wanted to assert himself as the one who was in control of the family and no longer the father, the one in control of the family, because Dad Jacob is not taking action. Reuben wants to be the man of action. He wants to take over. He goes and he sleeps with the concubines of his father. And the difference between a concubine and a wife, my understanding is whether or not you paid the father the bride price. So a concubine was technically a wife, but didn't have a wife status because the father did not receive a payment from you. And they often also were the servants of of another wife. So anyway, we also have later on, we haven't read it this year, we have Absalom, who does the same thing. He goes and he sleeps with the wives of his father David because he's trying to assert himself as king. So this is more of a practice of that, of asserting yourself in the power role over the family to go and sleep with your father's wife, but it's not your mother. So it would be your stepmother is what it would be. So, and the reason you're trying to do this is to assert yourself with dominance over the family. That I think is what is being alluded to here, because you are dishonoring your father. You are disgracing his honor as the head of the household, and you are trying to usurp your father's position. So that's part of what's going on with that one. So, but good, yeah. Thank you, Sparky, for asking that question. Do you prefer Sparky or Pugwash? Because I usually shorten names, because saying the whole thing all the time does take a bit. But Sparky, Pugwash, that's fun. So that's what's going on here, is a usurping of power. And like I said, there's a couple examples of scripture of where that's exactly what's happening. Actually, yeah, let's not go into that other one. Ads, BRB. Oh, I didn't see. Shoot. I pulled that up so I could see the warning on the ads coming, and I missed it. All right, so those of you who've been around, you know when the ads come, we look at some fishy. So I'm going to go feed the fish. Oh, you can see Waiwas in the back there. Waiwas is the albino pleco. You can see up on the tank. I'm going to go feed him a second. Are you back from ads? Let me know. Yeah, the guppies, there on top are okay. Let me just go full strength. I'm gonna go here with a baby koi. First, we'll go full screen. You see all the food floating around. And I really like this new camera angle. I really like this new camera angle because it's looking the full length of the tank. So there's never going to be a time where you really can't see a fish in the tank. I think that's a fun view. I think it's a fun view. Wow, they're just swimming. But let's go look at the guppies a second. Oh, wrong way. So you got SpongeBob and Squidward, the Chum Bucket, Squidward's house, and the pineapple. And you can really the new camera angle is really nice on being able to see the guppies up close, which, yeah, I'm digging that. I'm digging that. So let's go back to both of them a minute. So we can see both going on. All right, Genesis 9, 22 and 23. Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father and told his two brothers outside. Then Shem and Japheth took the garment and laid it upon both their shoulders and walked backward and covered the nakedness of their father, and their faces were turned away so that they did not see their father's nakedness. They're very cute. Yeah, thank you. Luces. Yeah, that is one of those passages. There are two hypotheses of what is going on there, because the seeing your father's nakedness is a reference to having slept with your father's wife. That is a reference to, so your father's nakedness is sleeping with your father's wife. It is a metaphor for doing that. So is that what we have here, where this is him sleeping with his father's wife? Would that be his mother? I'm not sure. We're not clear on the whole story there of Noah's wife. Is it his first wife, his second wife? We don't have a lot there as far as that part of the story goes. So is it his father's wife that he's sleeping with and dishonoring, which he clearly does, or the second thought of what he's doing there in Genesis is he castrated his father so his father could not have children. So either it is the thought that he is having a child by his father's wife, which is going to be Canaan, which is why Canaan ends up being cursed, because it's the child of that act, or it's the castration of his father, so he curses a child. It seems more likely to me that it's a euphemism for he slept with his father's wife, because it makes more sense of the cursing of a child based on the birth and the genealogy of the child, rather than a castration. But we're way sidetracked on that. But that goes into, this is one of the things that is happening. Ooh, look at the, right up close, we got him. Okay. Dun, dun, dun. So we finished Deuteronomy 22. Let's see what our list is. There we go, 22. All right, so let me just see. What did we have yesterday? Was to raid. I'm trying to remember. Who we were to raid yesterday. Was Uncle Diddy? Is that who it was? Trying to find my. Where are the reward request queue? There we go. Huh, it's not showing me. Yeah, on Twitch, yeah. Who was it you asked for yesterday? I think it was Uncle Diddy, wasn't it? Or am I wrong? Was it Uncle Teddy? I think it was Uncle Diddy. That's what I was trying to look at. So, yep, Uncle Diddy. Okay, I don't see him on yet. We can wait. If he's on at 10 o'clock, we can wait till he's on. I don't have to rush off today. I don't have a meeting, but we're just finishing up where we're at. Scrolling. Okay. He streams on Kick on Friday. Oh, so he's not on? Okay, so we don't have to wait for him. Okay. Well, when he's on next week, Monday or Tuesday, let me know. We'll raid him on Monday or Tuesday then. So we are caught up. Let me just mark those off. With everything through today and Deuteronomy through the weekend. So Monday we'll jump into Luke and we'll read everything for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. We'll get all of that. Monday would be great. Okay. Yeah, and Mondays I've been going later than 10 o'clock with Bible reading. We've been going to close to 11 on Mondays with Bible reading. So I would do that today, but my mom came overnight and she's leaving here probably shortly. So I want to go and be able to say goodbye and wish her well. She's got a 5-hour. So last weekend I went to my mom's house. This weekend, last night, not weekend. She came last night. She's leaving today. She just came down to get something, to pick something up. And then next weekend, I'll be going back up to see her with my son. So, okay, I'm just checking out who we could go, and I don't know if I've gone there very often, so I don't know much about them, but that's okay. That's okay. I've got people I don't know very often. He prays with his chat every day at 11 a.m. Just a heads up. Okay, no worries. So maybe 10:55 or, yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, you don't want to necessarily raid while they're praying. But, yeah, and I have it as a redeem. I just don't do it as, hey, we're going to pray every day on chat. I've thought about just doing a prayer stream, and I have done that before. Hey, we're just going to pray on stream, and the whole stream is praying. But I haven't done that lately. All right, let's try a new person. I don't remember if I've watched them before, if they've been around. So we'll just go bless someone. We'll go bless someone new. Oh, okay. You know what? Let me do it this way. Let me back that up. And let me go over here under the redeem. Hey, Prestige. Welcome in, friend. Welcome in. All right. We'll go over here. We'll go over here and check someone new out. So I'll give you a blessing. And we'll be on our way. Oh, it's not letting me type emails. Okay, whatever. It's having issues. But at least at this time it said, hey, I could sign into chat, which is a good thing. All right. May God seeking comfort find you. May his loving arms bind you. May his might protect you. May his wisdom direct you. May the joyous love of Jesus Christ be with you and all those you know, both now and forevermore. Amen. Thank you for being here. Loved hanging out with you, all of you. Your chat is working. I was typing yesterday and nothing. Seemed like you would ban. Oh no. Well, and then my stream's been having issues with chat not showing up. The emotes don't show up in the chat, which is super weird. Super weird. So anyway, thank you all for being here. Hope you have a blessed weekend wherever you go, whatever you do. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for giving me an hour, a minute, lurk, a VOD watch, whatever it is. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you all. Love you all. Thank you for spending time in God's Word. May you be blessed, and let's go bless others.